Dear viewers, this is Akhundzada Arif Hassan Khan and welcome to the Khalid Khan YouTube channel. On the 17th of July, a few days ago, a man in a village of the Takhbai subdivision of Mardan district, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province of Pakistan, was digging the foundations for his new house when a life-size statue of the Buddha was discovered lying in the ground. The news quickly spread like wildfire. Mardan lies at the center of Gandhara, the heartland of a premier ancient civilization based on Peshawar Valley that traced its start to 4,000 years ago and dominated the scene for the next 3,000 years thereafter. The local village priest quickly ordered the man to smash the statue, failing which he would be excommunicated from the Islamic religion, and that the validity of his marriage to his wife, in other words his nikah with her, would also be forfeit. Both situations are among the most harrowing for any true Pashtoon. So the man and his work crew complied accordingly. They smashed the statue. Once upon a time, not that far back, perhaps 40 or 50 years ago, the whole of Peshawar Valley lay strewn with the remains of successive cultures that this fertile area had engendered. People did not give much importance to the shards, statues and other remnants. Being devout Muslims, they often smashed the idols they frequently came across in the fields or washed up by the rain. Larger statues and stones so discovered often became part of other buildings or were used by the people as bridges and so on. The Western tourists and prospectors began frequenting this area. They knew the history and the value of such objects and were prepared to pay exorbitant sums for them. The local people became wiser, and soon a profitable illegal trade centered around Gandharan artifacts with minimal government interference. Government officials and high-ups were in fact often involved in such smuggling themselves. The statue found a few days ago was priceless and unique among such finds and would surely have brought its owner a king's ransom. But as already mentioned, there is another reaction of the Pashtoon locals have to the past history of their area, and that is one of iconoclasm based on their Puritan and severe Islamic belief. The past 40 years of jihadi culture based on Afghanistan and Pakistan, which was laid in place by American interests to secure geopolitical objectives in this region, have seen an intensification of such attitude, resulting in actions such as that perpetrated most notably by the Afghan Taliban on the great Buddha of Bamyan in 2001. Bamyan was the westernmost periphery of ancient Gandhara and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It has to be noted here that the greater part of the present inhabitants of the Peshawar Valley are not aboriginals. They comprise of warlike Afghan tribal hordes who invaded the area 500 years ago. Gandhara, which was once noted for being a major center of art and trade along the fabled Silk Route between China and Rome, was a Buddhist land with an Indic or Indianized population. However, it had been under Imperial Iranian rule, Imperial Persian rule to be more precise, for the major part of 1100 years of its 3,000-year history. Before that, it had been invaded by Alexander of Macedon and was subsequently the center of Greek power and presence in Asia for several centuries afterwards. The arrival of the early Turkic white Huns in this region in about 450 AD saw the wholesale destruction of the Buddhist civilization of Gandhara with a return to Hinduism. Since that was the religion the Huns adopted once they settled in India and mixed with various Indic natives to become Rajputs, Gujars and so on. The Huns were the last Hindu rulers of Gandhara. For centuries, Muslim Turks such as Sultan Mahmud of Ghazna, operating from Khorasan, toppled the Hindu power in the region permanently. Gandhara, after the Huns, was never the same again. After the arrival of Islamic rule, it disappeared totally from the record, becoming an area of darkness. Nowadays, after 500 years of domination under the eastern section of the Sarabani Afghan tribes, the Peshawar Valley, once known as Gandhara, represents a wild, rundown and lawless desolation of what it once used to be in terms of culture and civilization. However, it must be noted that this is not due to the arrival of one or another horde, Gandhara itself was founded by the original Indo-Aryan horde in 3700 years before the birth of Christ. The Persians and Greeks followed, the Vedic Hindus, and then the Eastern Iranian, Parthian, Saka and Kushan hordes settled it in succession, with the last horde forming the basis for the great Greco-Bactrian Buddhist civilizational pinnacle for which Gandhara is famous in the world. But all those hordes settled down and contributed to the amalgam of civilization. The Pashtoon Afghan hordes that invaded the area from 500 to 1000 years ago continue to live up to their reputation and remain wild and uncouth to this very day. So it is against the background of this historical knowledge that we must measure all the present attitudes, negativity and continuing troubles of the area, and there are plenty of those. Gandhara is now the major node of Pashtun identity and political influence. This affects not only its own bedeviled environs, but also the regional and international politics, owing to the primary geopolitical linkages that this area has with the rest of the world.